for votes earlier in the week, and so it took a little longer for the body to do its business than what it normally would do. And so it's been kind of an interesting time down at Pierre.
So we're going to talk a little bit too on some, like a specific thing we've got coming up here, this ProStart that we're talking about, which I think is really cool because you've got some local schools from the area that are going to be coming there. How can you tell me a little bit about how this, it's like a invitational, right? Like you bring a bunch from all over the state to this thing.
Yeah, so the South Dakota Retailers Association, we're the state's retail association, restaurant association, hospitality association, grocery association. And so because we are all of those things, we have a relationship with a variety of national organizations, the National Retail Federation, the National Grocers Association, and we also have a good relationship with the National Restaurant Association. So one of the programs that the National Restaurant Association has that the South Dakota Retailers Association administers is ProStart. So ProStart in South Dakota is a 2-year culinary arts program. It's in our high schools. Right now, we have 25 different high school programs all around the state. We have about 1,500 total students around the state who participate in this ProStart program. So what does ProStart do? What ProStart does is it provides real hands-on industry experience for high school students. So think everything from knife skills and plating, if you're going to be in the restaurant industry, to how to create a menu, how to come up with a business plan. It also has a component that's a hospitality component. So if you are interested in owning a bed and breakfast or running a hotel or managing, some kind of hospitality-like business, this program takes, again, real world in industry activities, brings them into the high school classrooms and teaches those to those students. It's really this fantastic program. I mean, it's just absolutely cool. Just in South Dakota alone, just in the last couple of years, we've got like 200 students that are actively working in the industry who have graduated from ProStart. And one other thing, just really quick, when we just kind of started talking about the legislative session a little bit earlier, the South Dakota Retailers Association, on the Monday before the legislative session opens every year, we have our annual meeting and awards and that kind of thing. And for the last 5 years or so, we've had ProStart students create the hors d'oeuvres, literally hundreds and hundreds of hors d'oeuvres for that event. The students are there, they're making them in the Ramkota in Pierre for legislators and for business owners who are members from around the state. It's an absolutely cool program, and we're excited about what that means for the hospitality industry in South Dakota going forward.
Wow, that is amazing. How do you see now this program evolve to meet like the changing needs of our state's retailers and the restaurants? It seems the industry is constantly changing.
Oh, absolutely, it's changing. I mean, there's just no question. One of the most dynamic industries is the restaurant industry. If we think about our own habits, I was born in 1980, so I'm, dating myself exactly. But I remember when we were growing up in small town South Dakota, it was a big thing to go to like a quick service restaurant, a fast food restaurant. To go to McDonald's and Brookings was a big thing for us. We just didn't do it very often. Well, now, here I'm in my mid 40s, still here in South Dakota, and I eat out a lot more often than I ever did with my parents and our family, when I was growing up. And, we think about the advent of things like food delivery and just how frequently we eat out compared to the meals that we prepare at home, and think about what that means for industry professionals. I mean, if it's one thing if you have a Subway restaurant or some other kind of sandwich restaurant, right? And then you think of things like, maybe a Chipotle or a Qdoba or that kind of thing. But most of our students are going in what you would think of like a traditional sit-down kind of a restaurant environment where maybe it's a mom and pop owned cafe or mom and pop owned restaurant, and how those privately owned smaller restaurants need to adapt and the information they need in order to compete with a larger national chain. It's a tremendously dynamic industry, and ProStart is part and parcel to helping prepare those students for those kinds of careers.
Wow. All right. So often you hear about the brain drain, if you will, in the Midwest. So with 12 of these schools coming from the state, how does ProStart act as a hook, if you will, to keep some of these talented kids building their careers and staying in South Dakota?
Well, one of the things that we have coming up, so I mentioned there's 25 schools from around the state that participate and about 1,500 total students. Well, we have our state competition coming up on the 9th and 10th of March. So we're, a week and a half out or so. 9th and 10th of March in Pierre is the ProStart state competition. This is a really, really cool thing. And so we've got 3 different categories of participation in ProStart in the state competition. We have a cake decorating competition. We have a hospitality management competition, and then we have a culinary competition. And so on the 9th of March is the start, it kicks off our cake competition. But then the really big day, if people are interested in coming to Pierre, it's free, it's open to the public. We would absolutely encourage folks to come down to Pierre on Tuesday, the 10th of March, to see these students in action, because it's really, really cool. The cake competition, like I mentioned, will start in the afternoon, and then we'll continue on in the morning. Hospitality will go from 8 to 10 in the morning. But kind of the real sort of publicly interesting one, I think, was going to be the culinary competition, which kicks off at 11 o'clock. And I know I'm hoping we're going to have Sean Dempsey from Dempseys there in Watertown in the studio here shortly. He's been a judge for us for a number of years for culinary, and can talk a little bit about just how neat of an event it is. But that's the plan for next week.
Awesome. So what is it like to have the business plan component? Why is that so vital to the SDRA's mission compared to just learning culinary skills, if you will?
Well, obviously, we see a lot of businesses pop up around the state. I mean, you always see new businesses pop up, but very often you see a number of those new businesses close their doors shortly thereafter. And so you hear about a lot of individuals who want to start a business because they really like a particular thing. They really like clothing, so they create a boutique, or they set up a boutique. They really like tacos, and so, hey, we're going to start a food truck or something. I really like, XYZ thing, and then I create a business. What we find for a lot of those folks is they have a true passion for the industry, but they lack some of those business skills that help them continue that business as a going concern. And so for our ProStart students who are learning about hospitality management, it's a whole variety of things for an industry that has a really, really low margin when it comes to the revenues you generate from that business. What I mean is most restaurants have a margin of somewhere between like 3 and 5%, meaning you're putting in, in order to get $100 back, you're putting in 97 or something like that. So you've got to have a high volume. And so in order to accommodate that high volume, it takes a lot of organization, a lot of planning. Hey, how are you going to manage your staff? What do you do when staff perhaps don't show up that particular day or have a conflict? What do you do when food costs change? How do you adjust your menu? If you're running a hotel, how often do you need to turn over those rooms in order to make sure that you're able to continue operating as a hotel? I think a lot of people don't realize just how business minded an individual or an entity has to be in order to make it in the restaurant or hospitality industries. And so having those students learn those skills as part of the ProStart competition and then demonstrate them for the judges is a great way for them to have to really see how the things they're learning in theory in the classroom have applicability in the real world.
Perfect. Well, I think that will be a good segue. We just had Sean join us in studio, and with what you've just talked about, you also had mentioned earlier that Sean had kind of helped judge earlier before as well. And so first, good morning, Sean. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Sorry about the delay.
No, thank you. We appreciate your time. So we've got Sean Dempsey, owner of Dempsey's Brewery and Pub Restaurant. Is that
That's
right?
the one. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And also we have Nathan Sanderson with South Dakota Retailers Association on the air. We're talking about the ProStart Invitational, but also, Sean, tell us a little bit about how maybe the Retailers Association's experience and maybe judging, how has that kind of impacted your business?
For me, it's always been just rewarding to go down there and see what these kids can do when they start playing and start just creating these courses. It's when I first got into it, I kind of didn't really know what to expect, especially when you go down there and you're just kind of like, oh, I run a business, come and judge these ProStart students as they do their thing. But it's been just it's been a good increase in like the overall job market. For new people coming in who are excited about culinary rather than just kind of getting this as a Joe job. So you start seeing a lot more excitement in the culinary field from these people, and you start just seeing the kids are very. I'm trying to think of I don't want to say for lack of a better word, but they're just very amped and they're very excited about a career in culinary, and this is a huge facilitator of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you can probably see in the restaurant industry, there's probably, there's workers and there's some that, maybe have more of a passion for the actual industry, so how do you entice that?
As much as I possibly can. Yeah. There's a huge difference when you see that it's drinking the Kool-Aid, but it's very much from having someone come in just kind of off the street. They're just looking for a 9-to-5 paycheck or a 5 to close paycheck compared to someone who comes in and actually wants to make this a career and just kind of not only do this for their life, but also very much like expand and do more. Those are the ones you want to grab, but it's just, they're very inspiring. That it's something that you wish you had when you were a kid. So it's just instant impact kind of thing.
So you're yeah, go ahead.
Well, Steve, I was just going to mention, so the ProStart Culinary competition is a really interesting thing. You've got a handful of students who need to create a 3-course meal in just a limited amount of time with no electricity, literally just a propane burner at a station. And it's awesome to see these students create these meals from scratch. And so just watching the competition is great. And so I would, again, highly recommend anybody who's interested to stop down in Pierre on Tuesday the 10th at 11 o'clock when we start the competition to watch these students in action. But what I really wanted to highlight is Sean is a very modest guy, but he's on, obviously, the United States, the national pizza team. He's an international award-winning pizza chef. And Sean is just, he's amazing as a chef and as an individual and as a judge. And he's reflective of the quality of the judges that we have for this competition. I mean, South Dakota has some amazing restaurants, and we have some of the best chefs in the state who are judging these students. And so these students get the opportunity to interact with literally the best of the best in South Dakota.
Wow. That does sound awesome. So, Sean, tell us a little more about your retailer's experience. You are generally an active member. What other benefits have you kind of seen with that?
Well, they kind of, I remember when Nathan came down a long time ago when I used to be on the board and kind of asked me to join, and I was very, very honored to be on the board. But it's very much, you just get to network and meet a lot of amazing people. And that was kind of the number one thing that I took off the bat was just the ability to meet and just hang out with these wonderful people who are doing very like-minded things that can help kind of grow you and grow your business. And It's wonderful because they're not only really working on you, but they're also working on their employees. They're working on just lifting everybody up. So just a very, very positive group that's working well, I don't want to say for the greater good, but it's very much it's a very classy group of individuals doing good work.
Yeah, and you have found things that in other areas, maybe that even work in our market here, and vice versa.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Very good. And Nathan, when it comes to wanting to like join and become a member, or even find out more information, how are there certain industries that qualify, or can anybody join, or how does that kind of work out?
If you're doing business in South Dakota, you're probably a good fit for membership in the Retailers Association. As I kind of kicked off with, we're retail, restaurant, hospitality, grocery. We also have a lot of trades. It sounds weird, but we have a lot of like CPAs and attorneys and electricians and plumbers and that kind of thing who are members. Easy to find membership on the website, SDRA.org, or give us a call. It's easy to find us on the website or, Google us, but 224-5050. But we have regional representatives for around the state, and we'll send one of the regional representatives out to meet you and your business and talk about if there are ways that the Retailers Association can help make you more profitable, help make sure that we can save you some time, or provide some information that maybe you otherwise didn't have.
Okay, so I got one final question. We'll wrap up. And so, Nathan, if you were some kind of let's say like Shark Tank or something, and you're looking to prove for a student is ready to be a future retailer of the year, what would you be looking for a business fundamental?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think the businesses that do the best, the ones that have won, retailer of the year in the past, they're first and foremost, they're good business people. They run a solid, squared away business. They understand the fundamentals of business, what their cost looks like, and, how to price things properly. They're good at marketing. They're good at connecting with their customers. But beyond that, they're great for their communities. If you look back, you go on our website again, SDRA.org, and you look at our former retailers of the year, those folks are to a person, individuals who have lifted up their communities through their business and through the philanthropic works that they do in their communities.
Very good. Okay, so Sean, you're a pretty technical person, I think, when it comes to the kitchen.
A little.
Is that accurate?
I dabble.
Okay, so you've seen the full from the beginning to the plating, if you will, at the Culinary kickoff. So how does seeing the raw talent rejuvenate your own passion for the industry when you come back to Watertown?
It's just don't want to sit there and start stealing all these people's ideas, but it's very much it's one of those inspiring things. You go out there and you if you spend a lot of time in the kitchen, sometimes you get burned out really easily. So you got to be very careful in how you manage your time. But when you go out there and you see all these young people that's absolutely just creating a 3-course meal from scratch, it kind of fires a passion back up. And you'd be like, if they're doing this now, I remember when I was trying to play with that years back, and it was just, it's just, yeah, they're just inspiring. I mean, like they're doing their best and they're making some really, really fun stuff. I always joke whenever I talk to them, I'm like, well, I'm always hiring whenever you're going to be around Watertown, I'll find a place for you.
Absolutely. Maybe there is probably a good funnel to being a member. You get a little employee funnel.
Little quick advantage to be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's my business card.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're all great.
Very good. Nathan, did you have any closing words or anything before we wrap up?
Well, I think I come back to this ProStart state competition is real world skills that our high school students are doing. It's tremendously impressive. We're going to have 11 different teams participating in that Culinary again on Tuesday, March 10th. We're going to start at 11 o'clock. It'll wrap up in the afternoon. And so if you have an interest in this industry, you're going to see some of the best, most talented students in the state being judged by some of the best chefs that we have in the state. It's quite an event.
Very good. Awesome. Any closing words from you, Sean?
This is one of the coolest events that I see every year. So I do my best to make sure I can judge every year. So I'm very happy to be there judging again this year. But it's really, if anybody's ever interested in getting into ProStart, I would heavily encourage them to reach out to SDRA and start figuring that out. I know their crew is really good at making that happen.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you for coming in here. Appreciate your time and
My
coming
pleasure.
in person. Also, you've got, what do you got? Like 2 more days left for the burger battle. So you've got one of those in there too. So make sure you stop by and check that out and get some pizzas. You won some kind of award recently too or something.
Like that.
So maybe a global pizza award. So check that out. But thank you both, Nathan and John. We appreciate you guys, everything that you do. And we'll get back to some music here on Northeast Radio SD.
Great talk.